every single yes that you take, you're saying no to something else. They always say no. They say no to more things than they say yes. Because when they're saying no, they're blocking out all this distraction to focus on whatever their goal is. If you're saying no to everything, then you're saying yes to the one thing that truly matters the most to you. And you'll know when that yes shows up because you said no to everything else.
If you walk around freely giving your energy away, you're going to attract the people who want to take it.
The vampires.
If you walk around with queen energy, you're going to attract the king energy. But if you walk around with princess energy, how do I look? You're going to attract the ones who want to match your princess energy. How are you walking around? How are embodying who you want to be to meet that person who's going to match you?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at the Walkabout Studio here in Da Nang, Vietnam. And I appreciate my lovely guest coming here today. Please, we're going to be learning a lot today, ladies and gentlemen. Please introduce yourself to the people. Steph, the Divine Priestess.
Yes, the embodiment priestess.
Oh,
You got it. But yes, Divine Priestess, like that goes. I'm happy with that too. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to meet other really amazing humans here in Da Nang and to be doing this with you.
absolutely. Please, you got to let the people know that you guys see the braids. You guys see the fit. You guys let them know. How did you become like this?
To be honest, it's been a long journey. For sure. You don't just show up with rainbow braids and serpent band and glitter all over you and a third eye just overnight.
Absolutely.
I think, I would say a lot of inner work and half my life just trying to undo the first half of my life. Maybe not undo, but love and heal from and become who I was meant to be in this lifetime.
I see.
So a lot of remembering and a lot of letting go and a lot of healing happening. But yeah, lots has happened. It was a lot of coming back to my body. A lot of it was half my life. I'm 40 now. And half of that ago, there was like an awakening moment where this is not who I'm meant to be. And won't go too into the details, but I literally went on a deep dive journey to reconnect my mind back with my heart and my body. So that was the journey going from here down to there. And it's been a long journey. It's been a 5'10" journey to go down, but it was not an easy journey, but it was worth it. And it's still ongoing. It never ends. But
Absolutely.
to be confident to wear something like this and not give a, flying F about, I don't know if we can swear on this podcast, a hoot, a flying hoot, takes a lot of embodiment work and a lot of just letting go and becoming who I was meant to be, which is what I'm here to do and help people do for themselves.
Absolutely. So very beautiful answer. I love that. So
you.
There's a lot to unpack there. We may have, of course, we're going to be bringing in your personal experience. So the reason why I wanted to bring you here, because you have a very different aura. You have a completely unique way of seeing things, and not just seeing things, but actually going about it in your life. And today we're going to be discussing, ladies and gentlemen, a topic called Divine Union. Start shaking.
Just the thought of it, it's like a big topic.
And you know what? Shout out to Rachel. She was here on the last episode. She actually was speaking more similarly to that, because on this pod we talk about modern dating and traditional dating. And Rachel, she's actually someone that is anti-dating apps, which is very modern. She's anti. She believes in having her right one actually come to her. And with Divine Union, it sounds, just by the name, it sounds like, yes, you have that person, that other person that's around in this lifetime, and you can actually attract them, or you guys attract each other, and you have that divine union. But please educate the watchers at home. What is divine union and how does it work?
Okay, good question. Thank you. Divine union is the coming together of two souls to create and birth a higher consciousness together. So it's not two bodies coming together to create a baby. It's like there's a soul in each one of them. There's an energy that travels between two humans that when joined, when becomes one, like the word yoga is union, it's this yoking together of one consciousness where it was split into masculine, feminine, male, female. When they join, usually these are during like intimacy practices. They don't have to be, but you can do them solo. But really it's a union of your own body with your soul. And then when you have two humans who are doing this type of inner union work coming together to do the union work, something magical happens in the energy field. So it's a bit more, less of a tangible thing, but more of a feeling energy type of union. And a lot of things happen. I don't know if you've heard of Kundalini, but it's,
Yeah, literally when you're going like that.
yeah, you
Kundalini.
can't talk about divine union without the serpent type. It's not an actual serpent, but it's how energy moves. So it's working with Kundalini and it's working with energy and the chakra systems with your partners. And it's with breathing, and it's using Tantra practices and using Kundalini breathing, certain techniques that help encourage certain states. And a lot of it is presence and love and connection and seeing that you're just a reflection of me and we are one. So there is that union where you become one with divine, with God, whatever word you want to put on that. You are remembering your divinity through these practices of divine union. But to get to that point where you have a partner, which is really important, to have a contained partnership where you are intentionally, consciously doing these practices together, that the energy doesn't leak. So it's important to do it with one person that you've decided, whether you're married or not. It's a sacred union that should be treated that way. So if you have multiple partners, there's nothing wrong with any of that, but it's not considered like that sacred union. It's two energies mixing to become one. And when I'm doing this, it's like it's actual energy moving through the chakra system that reach your brain, that pour it back in to the actual brain itself. And magical things happen when you can actually reach those states together. You can reach bliss states, but it's more like you're reaching higher realms of consciousness together. And those realms of consciousness can be birthed by two intentional people doing these practices together. I hope that
Beautiful.
is clear.
Yeah, it's clear for me, but I will unpack for you, ladies and gentlemen, a couple things. Kundalini, Tantra, these are a couple words that people at home probably don't understand. But before we start unpacking all of that, the basic way I can explain it is through understanding more of yourself, your energy, right? We were talking about divine masculine and feminine. A lot of people aren't aware, but everybody has a divine masculine and feminine. So if you're a male, you have divine feminine. If you're a woman, you have divine masculine. And it's imperative that you really understand both of those systems inside of yourself before we even think about getting to divine union, because you have to find it within you. And chakra systems, understanding from the root all the way to the crown, like working your way up, untapping these things within yourself. It takes a lot of personal development. This takes decades. It's not just 1 or 2 years and you got it down. It really is a lifelong journey. And it does coincide a lot with finding more of, you could say, awakening, right? Understanding the reality that is behind what just this third dimensional realm has. Before I start losing people, let's go ahead and circle back to explaining what is Kundalini.
Okay, Kundalini is the feminine life force energy that exists in everything. It's the creative matter life force that turns on our cells, turns on everything. And it's essentially the electricity that's living in your body, but it's always communicating with everything. So Kundalini itself can be tapped into. It's like it's usually dormant in most humans, as it's been a bit shut off in our sacrum in the lower part of the spine. So it kind of rests dormant there until awoken and shaken up, and it can start to actually move through the spinal column, through the nervous system. So it's, yes, you mentioned the chakra systems, and if there's blocks there, it actually can't travel freely up all the way to the top of the crown where you can reach those states of energy bliss or whatever. But Kundalini itself is a bit of a topic that many different modalities try to talk about, like chi, prana. It's like, it's one and the same thing, but in the Tantra practices, Kundalini is the word that they use for the traveling serpentine-like energy that comes from the earth. So it's usually like a Mother Earth feminine quality of this serpentine movement that comes through your feet, up through your body. It can come down through the top, but usually from the bottom up is where we access the Kundalini energy.
So what would be the masculine version of this? If Kundalini is feminine, what is masculine?
The Kundalini dragons.
Oh, Dragons.
The dragon. So we have the serpentine energy, the feminine, and we have the Kundalini dragons, which is that masculine. It's actually the dark masculine. We were talking about the divine masculine. We also have dark feminine, dark masculine, light feminine, light masculine. So we have many different parts of our masculine and feminine, which when you go down and dive in deeper, there's so much more to unpack and learn about those archetypes and embodying those and piecing yourself back to wholeness. I don't like even say healing, but when we reclaim parts that have been fractured, it comes back into wholeness, which is, think about union. It's like the wholeness it was separated, the yin yang, but like it actually wants to come back into wholeness and remember that it was always part of one. So bringing that back together, you mentioned in ourselves, that inner divine union with ourselves, union between our own masculine and our own feminine, and knowing that we have both parts. It's not, oh, I'm more masculine and feminine. And we all are everything, but are they in balance? Yeah. Are they in check? Is one dominant over the other? And we're like, I used to be very dominant masculine. Like I still have that quality, but as I've been doing this kind of priestess work and somatic work and that kind of work, it's like I've been allowing my feminine to be more online. So I'm more balanced within myself and then in my own connection with source and within myself. Then you're ready. Or at least I think I'm ready. I'm more ready than I was to have a partnership that is also on board, which is difficult to find. I have a lot of friends who are like, where do I find a man like your husband and that is wanting to do this work? It's very rare, and I'm so grateful for my husband that we are on this 10 and a half, almost 11-year journey together, that we are ready to start exploring these things more. I wouldn't say I'm like, I've done divine union and I'm checked off and I'm good. It's a continual unfolding process. And the learnings that come from even attempting to do these things, it's a lot of shadow work and a lot of ancestral clearing that we've had to go through to actually get to the point where we can do this work.
Yes, absolutely. So for the people at home, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that all that, but
yes,
they were like, what? Huh?
Please unpack
Divine
it.
who? Huh? What? Dragons.
Yeah.
And then I'm glad you said shadow work because I was going to eventually bring that up, but I'm glad you brought it to the forward. So the best way we can try and unpack this, because you pretty much gave everyone more or less a blueprint on really getting more into themselves. A lot of people that are more, let's say, just programmed with the normal state of life, they don't have much idea of really coming within themselves. Like, sure, they might have heard of journaling or yoga or meditation, but I tell everybody, I have more of a Buddhist background. If you want to get anywhere when it comes to knowing yourself, especially when it comes to spirituality, you have to start at level 0. And level 0 is meditation. You have to start with being just at peace within yourself. And again, that is level 0. What Steph is sharing with you is like level 10, 15, and 20. And I'm pretty sure there's more after that. But to get there, you have to start at level 0, which is the meditation. You really have to get used to being. You just got to get used to being. It's not even get used to doing anything. You just have to get used to being and just accepting. And then you can eventually start working on the divine masculine or divine feminine and working on shadow work. Because if you just try and jump into shadow work without any meditation, you're going to eat yourself alive.
You can't do it.
I don't want to dress up spirituality like, oh, it's so wonderful, because it's eye-opening to the point where you literally will have a paradigm shift and your reality as you know it will turn into something very unfamiliar. And even if it is technically better in a sense that you really understand the world, you understand yourself, you coming back to source, you coming back to you, it has to start with level 0, meditation. Who are you? One of my favorite questions, who are you? I ask this to so many people, who are you? And they're just like, I am my name. Okay, who is that? I am my job description. Who are you? And they're just sitting there scratching their head like, I don't know. And good, you don't know who you are. Now you can start trying to put those pieces together if you would love to do. It's more of an invitation if you want to become more aware or understand more. It's like, you can't just become Master Sifu. You're not just Master Oogway, just chilling in the spiritual realm, flying around without step 0. And where would you say in your life that you actually started understanding more of meditation and getting that embodiment? What age would you say that was? And when did you start taking it seriously?
I was gifted with the connection with my body from the get-go. I was gymnast. I was into all the sports. And so I was really connected to my body, and that's how I process things. And I went to kinesiology and at University of Toronto, and I did yoga and this and that. But for me, it was really at that halfway point in my life where everything just fell apart. And I had to look at myself because I did not want to be alive at that point. It was like, what is going on? So it was yoga that actually helped me get back into my body in a more conscious way. And I would say that having to be with myself was the most difficult thing for many years. Just sitting down. I've been doing yoga for years, and it was like, okay, when I did my first yoga training after 2 years of finding out what kind of yoga I liked, it was like, just sit for 23 minutes. That was the task. And I was like, it was like my eyes started watering. All these symptoms started happening when I just sat down. And I was getting annoyed with my body because it was regulated. Now I understand the nervous system and what was happening, that I was so dysregulated my entire life that I couldn't even just sit still. And the amount of coffee and stimulants and things that kept me out of being in my present moment. It was just very revealing that if I couldn't sit for 23 minutes, there's something wrong with my mind, or maybe not something wrong with my mind, but that it was something that I needed to look deeper into.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would say many yoga trainings later, it wasn't about the yoga necessarily. It was really about, I did a tantric yoga philosophy training. It was called Anusara at the time. And it was really about understanding even the fluctuations of the mind, the texts around consciousness. That helped me understand the mind more than just sit there and meditate, because that was hard to do. But as I went deeper into it, all the meditation practice, like mindfulness meditation, somatic, like going into my body and feeling my hips on the chair. I still do this as a basic thing when I feel dysregulated. I still tend to leave my body and dissociate sometimes when things get overwhelmed. So it's moments where I bring myself back to these kinds of practices, these basic practices of being inside this body, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, and loving the state that it's in, whether it doesn't feel good or not. And to be able to distinguish the mind versus who you are, that's also another level of awareness that I've developed over many different kinds of initiations and beautiful work. But it starts with meditation. It starts with choosing to be with yourself and being the witness and watching how we get distracted and what we get pulled from. So it definitely starts there. And if you haven't started meditating, put a 1-minute timer on it and just start with something. It's a good place to be like, it gives us a lot of information.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad you brought back in mindfulness. So for those who don't know, mindfulness is just being aware and being present about what's going on. So if you're sitting, how are you sitting? Every time that a lot of the issue, quote issue, when it comes to meditation is like people are like, I think too much. Normal. That's okay. You're just starting. Give yourself grace. It's not like you just sit down and then you're going to be able to sit for 5 minutes. You have to work your way up. Yeah. But mindfulness is a technique where you are just aware of what is happening physically. Yes, your mind is going to wander, but you don't have to meditate with your eyes closed. In fact, a lot of practitioners say just start with your eyes open. Look at a wall or look at a tree or look at something. And then eventually you start closing your eyes and then trying to work with that, right? So mindfulness is just being aware of what is happening currently. So if you're sitting outside, the wind blows, acknowledge it. The wind is blowing. It's on my skin. My hair is flowing. That is you coming to the present moment. A lot of meditation is focus on the breath. The air is going to come in. It's going to fill your lungs. It's going to go out, but pay attention. That mindfulness will bring you back to ground zero. And then from there, that's when I say get into the journaling. You did a mindfulness meditation for 2 minutes. What did you notice in those 2 minutes? Because the purpose is to notice things because you're just starting. You're brand new. You've never done it before. But you have to start at level 0. Yeah.
And I'd like to piggyback on what you're saying there is that all of this work that we're talking about, it roots in being able to be present in the present moment. Everything is accessed in the here and now, 0 point. Everything, if you're doing any soul work and any other stuff, it's like that is the access point to all information. And to be able to be present is a gift. Yes. And that in itself is where we can remember who we really are. And that's where these practices, like awareness is your energy That is the currency, is your awareness.
Said.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So when we get pulled to swiping, it's like, where are you putting your awareness? I like to call that also your energy. When we talk about Kundalini and energy, it's not a fictional thing. It's if you put your awareness somewhere, it's going to go there.
Yes.
Your energy goes there. If I say, think about your heart and a big flower that's green, you just created something physical, but in your mental body. So you can create your reality, and that's how all these things work, is like your mind is so powerful. It can even tell you to not to do certain things that you really want to do. So it's, are you in control of the mind, or is the mind controlling you? And now the practice is you're in control.
Yes, always, always. And there's so much that we're going through with this. We're unpacking so much. Oh boy, it's like this is supposed to be about dating and relationships, but we're giving them lessons on meditation and bringing back to themselves. And it is very imperative that you do so, because when we come back from this break, we're definitely going to be stepping more into that divine union, so all of us can help ourselves find the ones that are meant for us. But till then, check out this ad, check out my book, Energy Chimera, so you can learn how I became me and how I got to interview amazing people like Steph here. Do you want to know what it is to live a life like this, to learn from masters both real and imaginary? Well, check out my book, Energy Chimera, where you can learn how Khun became the being that you see in all of these videos. This is from the lessons of Uncle Iroh and Master Yoda, on top of actual people that I've run across that have become amazing entrepreneurs and CEOs themselves, that have grown their channels and their businesses to amazing states. And I was inspired to do same exact thing, especially with the wisdoms from the anime influences that I have in the book, linked down below. Check out Energy Chimera if you want to also become legendary. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. So before we go more into the deeper, let's ease you into it, right? Let's not just jump right in. So what I like to say, where attention goes, revenue flows, because I'm a businessman. But the real, true quote is, where attention goes, energy flows. Energy and revenue can be the same exact thing, right? When we're building the world that we live in, you build everything through your mind. Steph, earlier you were talking about how when you're swiping on the dating apps, what is the attention, right? Usually we talk about intention. Why are you swiping on the app? Is it for fun or is it for something serious? Can you go more on the attention aspect when it comes to modern dating, on swiping on all these different apps? And what is that doing for people?
I can speak from my experience.
Absolutely.
I've been married for almost 11 years, and
Woo.
yeah, that's a big feat these days. Sorry, we've been dating for 11 years. We've been married for almost 5. Correction. But it feels like that 10, 11 years it's a good chunk of time to still be together doing this work. So grateful for that. In terms of the dating apps, I did use them before I met my husband, Christian.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to Christian. I think it feeds a lot into the dopamine game that the brain is playing and that the apps are contributing to. And I'm not a huge fan of them, obviously. I didn't find him on the apps. I put them aside. I'm like, I don't want to meet someone this way. I want to meet someone whose energy I'm matching, and it happens organically. But if you are dating people, it is nice to go based on a feeling and not always the physical aesthetic or what's written on paper or what they can bring for you financially. So it's like, what is your intention when you're looking for someone on this app? Is it for a quick hookup, or is it like, you really have to get clear?
Yes.
What are you searching for? Are you searching for long-term commitment? Are you looking for someone who's more spiritual? So to me, I would tend to go to events or gatherings or places where these types of people meet, rather than, like, I actually am not aware if there are spiritual dating apps. I hope that there are. But I don't know. That's where I would go if I'm looking for a partner who is more into inner work, doing men's work, or...
Let us know in the comments below. I'd love to know if that's a thing as well.
If it exists, please share, because I think this is part of the next step, the next phase. Like, people always ask me and my husband, like, how did you guys meet? I wasn't looking for divine union when we met, but I did declare to the universe, I am done with the games. I had turned 30, so now I'm 40. So 10 and a bit years ago, I was like, I am done with this BS. I don't want to do the mind games and then this and then that. Like, it was literally the moment I declared not to continue on with anything that isn't in alignment with my next phase.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I think it's powerful to declare and to say your intention about what you actually want. And yes, write what you don't want, but you have to be careful with your words because words become things. So when you focus on what you do want, that's how we magnetize or attract what we do want. If we focus, I don't want this and this, like you're actually, the not is negated and you're actually attracting the thing you don't want, which is interesting because when we find partners after the honeymoon phase, we actually are confronted with the things that we don't want. So that's the next phase of you, even though it's perfect on paper, then we're always being revealed the next layer of that relationship. And it's not always what we think. It's not always, he says this and I says, it's like sometimes what I've discovered is like a lot of projection of ancestral things that I learned from my families and what was passed on as belief systems that I'm projecting onto my husband. And it had nothing to do with him. So that was my own learning too. I kind of took that question a little bit off to the side. But yeah, the intention of what you're actually looking for and speaking it out loud to yourself or journaling or writing, being really intentional. Okay, I'm not going to meet with people if they don't meet these certain standards, if they're not looking or doing work on themselves, or if they're not that they have to be getting therapy, but they're actually intentionally learning about themselves or doing some type of practice that is more spiritual or whatever it is you're looking for. Like, just get really clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And a lot of women that I meet, and of course, pretty much all the women that I brought on the pod so far, they all have this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want standard, and they actually move with that intention. You too can join this amazing apparel. You want to share the truth without making it obvious? Sign up to Allegedly Enlightened today. Check out our shop. We have new shirts, amazing ones that let you know that you are the universe and that spark that's inside of you to change the world will be with you at all points in time. So why not advertise it? Put it on the back of your body and let the world know that you truly are allegedly enlightened. So it's imperative that you also, like when you're saying, this is what I want, please be careful. I've actually been on the receiving end of somebody wanting somebody like me. And then when I showed up, they were down, they enjoyed it. But at the end of the day, I was also like, okay, what are we going to do? Because you brought me here and I'm aware of that. I know that I got brought here. I didn't necessarily bring you, but I brought somebody that I would want. And you are somebody that I want. So what are we doing, right? Or what's going on? So it's imperative that you actually know what you want. You have to know what you want. And that's the hard part as well. It's like, what do you want? If you could have anything, what is it that will actually make you the most fulfilled? Not just what will make you feel good in the moment or what you think would make you feel good. And that comes back down, of course, again, to like meditation and like journaling. Because once you find you, it's so much easier for you to work that way into the idea of the partner that could balance you out. And actually, I wanted to ask, is it about balancing with the partner or like, how does it work? Because my idea is like you have your faults and then you have a partner that can balance out your faults. So you guys are more in line with each other, or is it you find somebody that enhances what you're already good at? And is it necessarily either or? Could you have both? You probably could.
I think you can make anything work, but I think what we naturally attract is something that will help the energy balance itself out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm very energetic and out there, and my husband is like the opposite. So I've attracted the opposite energy. So I think energy doesn't lie, and
For sure.
if you had two people that were the same, it wouldn't work, but maybe it would. So yeah, that's why I say it's like a lot of it is a feeling, and it's interesting. This is one point that I want to kind of slide in there is what I've learned is we tend to attract similar experiences that we had growing up as a child.
Yes, I've heard this.
So
Yes.
I may be attracting someone, and I did attract someone very similar to my father and worked through some things, but it feels safe and familiar even if it isn't safe and familiar. You know what I mean? Is it balancing? I don't know, but we're definitely looking in a mirrored human to help us work through what wasn't resolved potentially. Not saying that's what we always do consciously,
Sure.
but I've found that the relationship is the mirror. I like to think of relationships as a mirror for ourselves to see ourselves more clearly and to see what's going on inside of us.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
Thank you. Yeah, I really think that it's the closest hardest, most difficult way, but the most rewarding way to get closer to God and to know yourself more and know thyself is through another human to reflect that. Because you can live your whole life by yourself. I'm happy here. I'm 60 and I don't need a relationship and I have my cats, right? And it is easy. It's actually easier, but is it fulfilling? Is it giving you what you actually desire? Fulfilling life, happiness, joy. What is it that we actually want in a relationship and in life? It's not just relationship. It's like, how do you want to actually feel? So yeah, based on the feelings and the energy balance, I hope that answered your question.
It answered it, and you answered it in your way. And at the end of the day, that's why I have you here. So you can help bridge that gap, because I'm asking the questions that I would hope somebody has at home that would love to have it answered by somebody that has more idea on the knowledge behind it, because you've done a lot of personal development. And again, we are all mirrors of each other anyway, right? So
Yeah.
whether you're watching at home or you see us in person, we are all, again, just like mirrors of each other. And for you to say that partner is reflecting something deep, what I've heard, a bit of a segue, but what I've heard is your trauma or your punishments as a child becomes your kinks as adults. Have you heard this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's unresolved mommy daddy issues for sure that we keep playing out. It's like, why do I keep getting the guys that do this and want this? Yeah, you got to work. That is what is coming up is there for us to look at.
And I've gotten to the point where it's, you got to understand yourself. But yeah, you can understand yourself through a partner, which helps out a lot. One of my first partnerships that I got to in Chiang Mai, this woman, we skyrocketed each other. Right. We came into it. I met her at a tarot shop, for one.
Of course.
So it was already on a spiritual type of union. And when I met her, we started talking, and then we literally started cohabitating after that. It's like she brought out these flaws that I didn't really know I had. And instead of running away or shaming me, she was like, I see them, I understand, and I want to help you through it. And that like broke me in a positive way, because from there I was skyrocketing, and then I found some within her, and then she broke down, and then she started skyrocketing, and we just started learning from each other. Every single day we learned something new, bring something new out of each other.
Yeah.
To the point where it was like, damn, I feel like I just learned like 5-10 years about myself and it's been a week.
Wow. In essence, we can't see our own blind spot. So they're pointing out that shadow. That's also another layer of this work is shadow work. You can't see your own shadows. So to have someone reflect that back to you is part of our own personal growth and development. And it's a healthy part of being in a relationship. And when you can see that and have someone honor and love that part of you and not reject you. I find a lot of relationships that don't work or marriages that break up, they get to these points of, is it going to work or is it not going to work? And then they jump because it's too hard. It's like we have to face our deepest stuff.
It's hard. It's so hard.
And are you a person that wants to work through it? And I feel like that is a quality that me and my husband do have. It's no matter how hard this gets, we're in this together, and I got you, and I love you either way.
Yes.
And that's important to find someone who's also in their heart and can see that and also help you work through it.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I love how every time you bring up your husband, shout out to Christian, every time you bring him up, you're like, I'm so grateful to have this person.
I'm truly so grateful. I love him so much. And every day, even sometimes when it's difficult, it's like moments where he can hold space for me and my chaoticness. It's like I have a rock and someone who's just can watch the chaos happen and be so grounded. And that's what I need, is that masculine to just hold space for my chaos. I don't need him to fix anything. I don't need him to do anything. Just be there and give me your full attention while that's happening. And it's so healing. There's so much healing that can happen in these type of relationships. And where it starts is that tantra work. Yeah. It's can we hold awareness for each other and non-judgmentally just be there.
Round of applause. Yeah. And I hope there's been a lot of reflection within the viewers at home watching this. And for me as well, it's so easy to sit and leave nowadays when it comes to any type of issue in a relationship, because there's so much choice. And from having Rachel on and then having Francie on, having Meta on, it's like it's not what it's cracked up to be, to have this illusion of choice. Rachel, shout out to her, in the last pod, she was saying dating apps bring people into your life that 9 times out of 10, they didn't even really deserve to be there. They never really met that criteria to be in your life. But because you're using an app, they're using an app, and we're just swiping based off first attraction, just looking at a picture or reading a little bit of a bio. If some people even decide to put detail in their bio, some people, they just have their IG in their bio. I'm not on here. Here's my IG. You're putting yourself, at least from coming from your background of somebody that's been in a relationship for a very long time, very successful and healthy sounding relationship, to see what everybody else is doing. If anything, it just seems like a big ass game. It's a big ass game and a waste of time, and it can work. It's not like dating apps don't work, right? Because even my teacher, my high school teacher, she met her husband, current husband, and father of her 2 children from Tinder. So it's not like it's not possible. It absolutely is possible.
Yeah.
But every single yes that you take, you're saying no to something else. And I notice a lot of big things that come from successful people. And of course, success is it varies. But from what I've seen with people that have a life that at least I would say is absolutely successful, they always say no. They say no to more things than they say yes. Because when they're saying no, they're blocking out all this distraction to focus on whatever their goal is. For some, it's the company. For others, it's their relationship. It's their partner. It's their kid. If you're saying no to everything, then you're saying yes to the one thing that truly matters the most to you. And you'll know when that yes shows up because you said no to everything else. Everything else was blocking your way. And it was you blocking it because you were accepting every invite, thinking that invitation was going to take you somewhere that, in all honesty, it probably isn't going to take you as far as you think it's going to take you, but it's just very tempting. You go out to the beach here in Da Nang, 1700, everybody's on the beach, everybody got their shirts out, it's a whole buffet, everybody's out there looking like a glazed donut. Delicious. That being said, how many of those people are actually good for you? And you can't tell just by looking at them. You'd have to get to know them, and you cannot get to know every single person that you're running into, which, in my personal opinion, attributes to this fast food type of dating lifestyle. And of course, it doesn't help that we're also nomads. We're also traveling around. You're here for 3 months. They're here for 2 weeks by the time you've met them. What can you even really establish and build, even if it might be beautiful? Because even as you said, like the honeymoon phase, that ends. And then you got to really look into the mirror, and that mirror is another person.
Yeah.
Do you have any words of either advice or encouragement for people that are trying to not necessarily get the divine union, but they just want to have that partner that can hold space for them? Like you've already said it earlier, right? Start being more selective and declaring to the universe.
Yeah.
But what are the steps that you took as well when getting to where you are?
Firstly, I want to say that was very well said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I loved just saying no is like more important than your yes. Like that sacred no and that sacred yes. You're fully saying yes to what you actually want when you declare your no. And that kind of brings me to this idea of like you are this sacred vessel. This body is holding your soul, right? Are you going to let just anybody in? I find the relationships, it's like when you're dating, yes, you want to have a lot of options, but you have standards. And this is the most sacred thing that you could share with somebody. And the advice is like treating yourself as that. And energetically sensing how you feel in other people's presence, or even when you're swiping or whatever, however you meet them, does this person, can they meet me where I need to be met? Can they actually hold a conversation that is not just fluffy? Like I'm a person that kind of goes deep fast in terms of like depth of conversation, not. But I would say if you walk around freely giving your energy away, you're going to attract the people who want to take it.
The vampires.
But if you are like, no, this is my energy, this is me, the people who will treat you that way will show up too. Absolutely. So I'm just giving an example as an archetype, as if you walk around with queen energy, you're going to attract the king energy. But if you walk around with princess energy, how do I look? You're going to attract the ones who want to match your princess energy, right? Yeah. So how are you walking around? How are you embodying who you want to be to meet that person who's going to match you? So it's not about what tips I can give. It's can you build a loving relationship with yourself and know yourself more and love yourself more and accept yourself more? Because then you're going to find someone who is also going to do that and have that devotion for you. It's, wow, I have this woman who loves herself so much. I want to love her too. And so...
Yes, absolutely. Because people value you how you value yourself.
That's right.
And it's very subconscious. It's very subtle. But people can tell, like, you don't believe in yourself. You're walking around, got your hoodie on, you're looking down. What is body language?
Everything.
Absolutely. Because humans, like, anthropology, hello, we didn't start speaking until later on into our development. A lot of it was body language and maybe some grunting, ooh, 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 ah. And a lot of people, they don't think about this, but how you carry yourself absolutely changes the entire vibration around you. So it is imperative, like when we go, even let's go back to the basics, right? How many of you guys know about affirmations? They take you pretty far. They don't do absolutely everything for you, but it's a start. It's just like meditation. It's a way to get your foot into the door of understanding who you are. And all you need is just that door to crack open just a little bit of light to see the potential of who you can be, who you can become. And when you start embodying it, it's going to be a little tough, right? So we could talk about a little bit of shadow work, because who you are as you are now, it has its own life. It has its own personality. It has its own will to survive. So if you start moving your paradigm to be like, oh, now I'm going to take my life seriously. I'm going to start going to the gym. But by day 3 or day 4 going to that gym, the old you's, nah, bro, let's stay at home. Like,
This is hard.
Exactly. I don't want to do it no more. And like your brain recognizes stuff that's familiar. Shout out to Rachel. She said the same thing. Your brain familiarizes trauma. So of course, sometimes you'll have these bad relationships. It's from your past trauma, and you keep bringing these same people around because your old paradigm and your old life remembers it. I'm used to it. So even though something is better for you, you're not used to that new life, but you have to take that into account whenever you want to change your life. Not everybody is going to necessarily accept the challenge and then complete the challenge. But if you are one of those people that are like, yeah, man, I'm going to change, or 2027, that's my year. 2028, that's my year. I'm going to be hitting the gym 3 times a week. Then do it.
Action.
Action speaks way louder than words.
Yeah.
And it speaks louder to yourself as well.
Yeah.
So when you start embodying that new version of you, the old version is going to want to hang on. No. Don't you want to drink with the boys? Don't you want to? You got to start saying no. You got to start saying no to your old self. Then that new version will show up. And by the time you look in the mirror, you'll be like, oh, damn, that's me? Yeah, that is you. Because you declared that is what you want to be. And you took action and took those steps to actually become it.
Yeah.
I'm done preaching.
Breath is probably the most direct way to access your somatic body experience. To shift your state, breath is the fastest thing to bring us into different states of consciousness. Breath, movement, sound are the 3 portals to higher awareness and consciousness. So if you incorporate one of those things, you're already on your way toward higher awareness.